It's pretty fascinating to me how the name Scorponok has been used for certain Transformers characters that are drastically different from each other. The only common denominator is that they turn into a scorpion. And Beast Wars Scorponok is perhaps one of the most famous ones, and also one of my favorites. I would say G1 Scorponok is unbeatable, because it's G1 Scorponok. He's huge. I'm looking at my Titan class one right now, and I can't believe that's a thing that exists. But I still like Beast Wars Scorponok a lot, too. And I got the Kingdom one a while ago, obviously. That came out, quite some time ago. But more recently, there was the reissue of the original vintage Scorponok, and it was horribly overpriced, like $50 or something crazy like that. Walked into an Ollie's, found it for $15, and I was like, yeah, I want a Beast Wars Scorponok. So, why not do an old versus new, since I have the new one and the old one now? Let's go ahead and do it. Now, I do have to say, I don't know if there are any significant differences between the reissue Scorponok and the original vintage Beast Wars, because I don't have the original vintage. However, I'm happy to have this reissue. It's a fun figure. It does have one pretty bad flaw. If you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you might see something that's going on. But other than that, it's just a fun, gimmick-filled scorpion robot toy. And the Kingdom one is pretty controversial for kind of just being whatever. It's, not a bad toy. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's Scorponok. There you go. There's Beast Wars Scorponok. It's still a cool figure, though. I still really enjoy it. This is the standard issue version of it. I did, for a time, have the, what was it, like, Creatures Collide multi-pack one that actually did have more toy colors, but I just didn't want that one. I just ended up getting rid of it. I'm just like, just give me the Scorponok. Besides, I do have a repaint that I will show for a different comparison, so we'll get into that. But anyways, yeah, you can tell there's definitely quite a bit of size difference between these. The original one was actually a size class up. I believe it was Ultra Class, Mega Class maybe. I think so. I don't recall the name. I think it might have been Mega. Essentially the modern day equivalent of a Voyager. It's essentially what the original Beast Wars one was. It was essentially a modern Voyager. And this one is a modern Deluxe. So it's kind of funny how Scorponok actually got a size downgrade after all these years. I do want to make sure I get that accurate. So that's the size class of the original. I'm pretty sure it was Mega. I don't know. They change the names all the time. Like, what is Core Class now was like Basic Class back then. Pretty much the only one that stayed the same as Deluxe. Everything else has changed. But I really do enjoy the look of the old one and the look of the new one. They're both trying to capture the same character. And obviously, since this is like the original one, it kind of predated the show, and the show kind of took this design and changed it, ran with it. I really do love the design of the original, though. I love the head. The head looks so robotic. Let's get a little closer. The head just has this cool robotic look to it. He's got like this mouth vent that almost looks like a screaming mouth. He's got a cool visor. I love the pearly plastics as well. Kind of a shame he's got so many visible screws, but that's just the assembly of a toy of this era. There's a lot of screws. Again, I love the pearly. I love the pearly plastic. It's just so pretty. It's cool looking, man. I really do enjoy it. The legs are pretty basic. You can see there's not too much going on with those. But it does have this big old tail around the back. And the gimmick's easier to kind of access in the Scorpion mode, obviously. But you kind of you push on that lever, and it sends the tail flailing a little bit. I do appreciate how the Scorpion legs are all molded together. I'm going to emphasize this one more time. I appreciate how all the Scorpion legs are molded together. You'll see why. But yeah, the Scorpion tail, it kind of just pokes up over his head. It doesn't work super well in the robot mode, but it actually works great in the Scorpion mode. The robot mode's pretty basic, though, when it comes to a lot of things. He does have the mask gimmick, where you can move the mask and you get this really cool alternate head. Honestly, I think this head design's a little bit cooler than what we actually got in the show, because the show kind of defaulted to this face. It's kind of what the show designed its face on. But one thing I do love is that for the Kingdom line, they actually did give us a few different versions of this head sculpt. And I do want to bring it in super quick. Again, I didn't keep my Creatures Collide, but I do have Sandstorm. I got him when he was on clearance. So we can see there is a modern interpretation of this head. And this is such a cool design to me. I love the mutant heads. They're just so neat. It's funny how in Beast Wars, some figures, like like Waspinator, his show model was the mutant head, but his, his toy had a non-mutant head. And with Black Arachnia and Tarantulas, Black Arachnia uses the normal robot head, and Tarantulas has the mutant head. It's just so fun. I always kind of love how the shows did that. But yeah, I do appreciate how there was an alternate head. It was all like molded together, so I'm sure that Kingdom Scorponok, they could have included an alternate head, but they just chose not to. If you wanted the alternate head, you would have had to gotten the Creatures Collide, and again, I just didn't feel like I needed that. So looking at the newer Scorponok, we can see that his head sculpt is very show accurate. It's got the golds, it's got kind of the mask look, it's got the pouty mouth. I think that is Beast Wars Scorponok to a T, pretty much. I love that head. I always kind of liked the character of Beast Wars Scorponok. He was just kind of like a henchman, just a bit of an oaf. He fell into lava, he died. That was his character, essentially. But still a fun character, and I feel like this figure kind of replicates him pretty well. He's got some nice paint on the legs, he's got some nice detailing on the arms, he's got the claws, and we'll get into the claws on both of them later. His scorpion tail just kind of stays back there and exists. He can sting his own face if he wants to. But the legs, the scorpion legs, are just kind of a mess. There's just kind of a mess. There's just tons of ball joints, and you just kind of tuck them back there and hope for the best. Kind of wish they were all molded together, like the old one. But it's not that big of a deal. They all just kind of fold back there. It's whatever. It's a, insect-esque Beast Wars character. That's just what it's going to be. And I know scorpions are not insects. Aren't they technically arachnids? Aren't they technically? I don't know. What are scorpions? I have no idea. Are they like crustaceans? I've never thought about it. I've literally never thought what a classification of a scorpion is. Here's the answer. I Googled it. You don't have to tell me in the comments. I Googled it. I have Google too, guys. But yeah, I've literally never thought of that. So I want to get into the claws on both of these, and then we'll get into articulation and transformation. So the old one had a couple really cool gimmicks for the claws. So this claw, you open it up, and missiles shoot out. I was hoping to control the shot of that missile, but it was seriously so powerful. It shot, ran down my arm, went into my lap, and went on the floor. The springs are super powerful. And if you don't want those missiles firing, probably just take them out, because you're going to end up accidentally opening this claw, and it's just going to shoot out. I got this when I was visiting my brother, and I accidentally shot the missile, and his wife was sitting on the couch, and she just saw it fly, and she was like, what was that? They are very strong missiles, so keep that in mind. But this arm, I don't know if you noticed, you might have. I've got a rubber band on this claw, and it's very unfortunate as to why I have a rubber band on this claw. So let me just remove the rubber band so we can kind of see what's going on. So thankfully, the figure came with this rubber band, so it did kind of make my life a little bit easier, because I'm like, oh, I already have it. But, essentially, this is a spring-loaded missile as well, and you already saw it just fired on its own. For whatever reason, the latch is just not strong enough, and it will not stay in. I don't know if this was a problem with the original, but I've tried so desperately to try to keep this latched, but the latch just is too weak, and it will not stay latched unless you have a rubber band. So that sucks, but essentially what this is, it shoots off, and it's supposed to fully spring out, and it's his little bee drone. So it's so cool how it kind of springs and transforms and all that, but it's such a shame that that little tiny latch, that's it, that's the only latch right there, is not enough. Because see, too, this is just like kind of springy. I don't know, it's just not good. The gimmick is so nice in theory, and I don't know if this is something that the problem originates with the original mold, or if this is a reissue problem, but this bee just does not stay put. It just does not, because it's supposed to go in, it's supposed to latch in, and then it's like, oh, it springs out after you push the button, but it doesn't. It doesn't stay in. It cannot function. It's a shame, it really is. So, again, it came with a rubber band. I pretty much just take the rubber band and I put it around the lever to kind of give it a piece to hold on to. Then I put it around the claw, twist it, and then put it up top on the claw, and that holds it in. So hopefully this rubber band can hold for a while, because I would just rather have the claw on with a rubber band instead of just have the claw incomplete and then a bee just standing next to him. So very disappointing how that doesn't stay latched. However, the new one does replicate these gimmicks. It's got missiles, and they're just separate pieces you can just unplug. That's all it is. And it has the bee. And the bee is just a separate piece you can unplug. That's all it is. The bee is definitely more accurate because of that in terms of the sculpt, but you can see it's just a tiny little bee. It doesn't have a lot of paint or anything. Technically, to be more accurate to the original Beast Wars toy, we should actually have these flipped. So let's put the missiles over in this claw. Let's put the bee over in this claw. So we can kind of see, yeah, there's there's how that looks. It is cute how the new one does replicate it, and it's just little accessories. And honestly, I do appreciate that the bee is just in there instead of being a part of the claw, because that just makes it so much more of a pain, especially with this original one. So for articulation on both of these, it's Beast Wars. So this was the toy line that innovated Transformers articulation. So he's got a ball joint at the head with or without the mask. He's got swivels at the shoulders. He's got ups at the shoulders. Swivel and bend at the elbow, swivel at the claw, nothing at the waist, but he does have ball joints at the hips. No thigh swivel, but you do get a little bit of ball joint action there. Knee bend, and the ankles can move a little bit. Kind of more of a transformation thing, but they can move if you need them to. So that's the original. And the new one, it's a modern Transformer. You do have more actual articulation with the Stinger if you want. You can technically rotate this for transformation, but it just kind of, it's better to just leave it pointed up. That's kind of how the balance works on it. Ball joint at the head, a little bit of up. Universals at the shoulders. He's got the elbow. He's got his swivel. The claws can do this, do that. He does have a waist, which is good. He does have a waist. He's got the hips. He's got a thigh. He's got a knee, and he's got ankle and ankle pivot. Anyways, let's get on to transforming these guys, because we want to see some cool scorpions, I guess. That's what we're doing. So the original one is very fascinating how this transforms, because the head actually stays attached to the scorpion butt. I just find that so fascinating. It's all just kind of back there, and it's pretty simple, but it's pretty intricately done. The legs are just kind of going to tuck underneath, pretty simple there. And then, essentially, we get these legs out. We want to straighten up the scorpion claws, and we're almost done. This is a very simple transformation on this one. You can see the scorpion mode. The other side of the arms are shown, and you do not see the screws as much. So if you really don't want to see the screws in the robot mode, you could probably disassemble this guy and try to reassemble it. But we're going to put the legs together, and believe it or not, the back heel actually forms the scorpion head. Then we just tab all that in, and the tips of the toes actually form like the little scorpion mandibles. And there we go. Here's the original Beast Wars Scorponok in his scorpion mode. You can actually tilt his head up because of the heel transformation, so that's really cool. You can move the legs a little bit. The arms have the same articulation. We can see now the scorpion tail. It's got a hinge back there, and it does have far more range to actually sting in front, because that's how scorpions do the scorpion thing. They grasp onto their victim with the big old claws, and they sting it right in front of its face, and then they just start eating it. That's how scorpions do the scorpion thing. So this is a very successful scorpion mode. I think they did a great job on this one. With the new one, unfortunately, I think the scorpion mode kind of falls a little short, and also the transformation is almost unnecessarily complicated. I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot going on, and unfortunately I think all the craziness with the legs is a factor in that. So I know the torso opens up, and then this opens up. Oh, there goes a leg. Perfect. Already off to a great start. I really don't like the legs on this. I really think they just should have been molded together. Let's flip the scorpion head out, because the scorpion head is just a separate piece now. It is not aligned with the feet whatsoever. But we can see it's kind of hard to reach in there and get that poked out. I'm struggling. I'm already struggling, guys. I shouldn't be struggling this early on. It's just, I'm just trying to transform my weird scorpion boy. What are we doing? What are we doing, Scorponok? Can we please flip out? There goes another leg. Jeez Louise. Okay, let me flip that head out. Well, that was unnecessarily annoying. Anyways, after that, we want to flip the robot mode head in, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think it flips in all the way. I don't know. This one's just an odd one. I know the legs. The legs do this weird thing, don't they? Where like one foot goes into the scorpion tail and the other one does not. However, it's also one of those toys that doesn't make it super clear which one is which. So let's try to figure out. Okay, so it's this leg that goes into the scorpion tail because there's that little pokey heel that's going to go through and for whatever reason just poke out the slightest little bit inside the tail. So odd. So unbelievably odd. Honestly, I feel like they could have just copied the original toy and they just would have been better off. I just don't like this transformation. I just genuinely don't. I don't take any pleasure in it. It's just so odd. It's so weird. And I don't even think the head properly folds in. I really don't. I'm going to look into that here soon before I continue going and looking like an idiot. But I seriously think the head just kind of stays down there. I mean, where else is it going to go? I think it just stays down there. Unless it has space to flip back the other way, but I really don't think it does. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is odd. So I looked into it. This is indeed the final product. It's so weird how that head's just sitting there and how this chest is just open. I remembered how this transformation made it feel so incomplete, but I didn't realize how incomplete it felt. It's just such an odd transformation. And the Scorpion's all right. Again, it's got the ball joints that are just everywhere, and it's annoying for those legs. But one of the worst parts about this Scorpion mode is the tail. Because the leg is within the tail, oh, you want your Scorpion to, sting the thing in front of it like the original one did? Nope. It can sting itself. But this tail ain't going anywhere unless you take the foot or take the leg and remove it again, which you just kind of like peel it out of there in a weird way. And then it can, but then you're just left with the leg just also back there. I think this transformation is weird. And honestly, it just makes it not super fun. I don't know. I feel like I've played with cooler Transformers Scorpions. I truly think I have. Like, for instance, the original Beast Wars one. I actually do think this is a rare case of Transformers old versus new, where I think the old one's better. I just do. The only issue I really have with the old one is how the bee doesn't stay in. That's it. That's my only issue with it. Other than that, it's basically a near-perfect Scorponok. If they wanted to make a show-accurate Scorponok, just repaint the original. It's one of the most successful original Beast Wars toys. Where I feel like the new one just... I don't know, it's not bad. It's not a bad toy, but it's just never sat right with me as, like, a very good toy. And I have the repaint of Sandstorm. I have that one, too, and it's, like, kind of the same deal where I got it. I got it on clearance at Walmart, and I'm like, Sandstorm's cool. Why not? Let's pick them up. And I opened it, and I was just kind of reminded again where it's like, yeah, this toy's is kind of all right, Transformation's not very fun, and it really makes you feel like you're not done. Like, I seriously paused the recording and looked at Google Images to make sure that I had done it right. And that's rare of me. Usually I just let it go, and if I figure out it's wrong, someone posts in the comments, or I look it up and put an annotation. But no, I had to stop and make sure that I was done, because I couldn't trust myself to be done, because it's just not a good transformation. I don't know, something about it. It just feels so incomplete to me. But we got there. I think both of these are good toys, but I think the original Beast Wars one is a very good toy. It just has more gimmicks. It just has more going on. I really like the mask feature. I like the retroness. It's a really nice toy. If you can get the original or a reissue of Beast Wars Scorponok, I keep wanting to say G1 Scorponok, which technically isn't wrong, but I don't know. G1's a different thing. Then I would say go get the old one. It's a perfectly fun version of Beast Wars Scorponok. I almost said G1 again. Dang it. But the new one, it's not bad. If you have a Kingdom Predacon collection like I do, then yeah, you want the new Scorponok. But I just don't think it's as good. I mean, there's a reason why I got the opportunity to get the original one, and I did. because it's better. You know, I do enjoy having both of these, but if I could only pick one, I would actually pick the original. It's a more fun toy. Alrighty guys, I'm done rambling. There we go, another old versus new. It's said and done. Let me know what you guys think. Which Scorponok's better to you? Again, I've said it. It's the old one for me. But the new one's still fun. It looks more like the show. It's, you know, if you want it for that collection, it's great. But the old one's just a better toy. Again, let me know what you think, though. Special shout out to channel members, as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.